the consideration of routine matters. If a commissioner requests that items be removed from the consent agenda, those items are placed at the beginning of the regular agenda. Other than a request to remove items, a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda is not debatable.
Thank you, Victor. I'll read in those consent agenda items. Item A, consideration of auditor-approved claims for payment for January 8th, 2020 through January 21st, 2020. Item B, consideration of regular commission meeting minutes of January 7th, 2020. Consideration for C of administrative adjustments on real property. D, consideration of administrative adjustments on personal property. And E, acknowledgement of publishing a notice of adoption of ordinance number 2020-1153-0 and 2020-1154-0 and on Saturday, January the 11th at 2020.
Very good. I have a motion. Do I have a
I'll
second?
the motion.
And I have a second on the motion. All those in favor say aye.
You do.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Aye.
Getting a little ahead of you, Commissioner Cox. Very good. Thank you. Our first item is consideration of our purchase request. Ray Boyer?
Okay.
I was just thinking, it must be the first of the year because the consent agenda seems a little smaller, but the purchase request seems a little larger, so.
Yeah, we have 19. Bear with me. The first few we have here is for tourism. The first one is for a winter marketing campaign, a co-funding project, and we're co-funding with the State Office of Tourism, and that's a total of $35,000. The next one is for printing of 80,000 vacation guides, and a total of $34,468.89. The next one is for 2020 online marketing package, and the total of $30,040. The next one is
I have a
for,
question on that, Ray.
yes,
It says $32,142.80 on the marketing package, but the extended price doesn't agree with the price on the PO.
I haven't had a chance to fix that yet. I know there was a mistake, but the $30,040 is correct.
Thank you.
The next one is for small market meeting advertising package in a total of $20,000. And onto the Dixie Center. The first one is for, it's not really a repair more than an update to their chiller head and their, the unit that cools the building. So like their AC condensers and stuff. That's getting coated with this Bellizonia. Hopefully I said that right. That keeps things updated and running properly. And that's a total of $33,608.12. The second one is for a model oven and a few accessories to go with that, and a total of $32,516.88. The next one is for prep and paint for the exhibit hall, and that's for $14,050. The next one is for prep and painting the all outside doors in a total of $10,125. And on to emergency services. The first one is for some satellite phones, which is going to be a regional asset going to Iron County, in a total of $10,098.
Now, just for the public's information, so we process these emergency grants for the 5 counties.
Yes. Washington County is the holder of the grant money.
Yeah.
And so we,
So people don't think we're
Pay
buying
further.
something for Iron County.
Yeah, because
Right.
the next invoices are going to be Iron County, Garfield County. It's going to
Right.
look kind of a little strange there, but yeah. Very good.
the next one is for some dual band radios, which is another regional asset for Garfield County, and a total of $10,924. And then on to Legacy Park. This one is for a forklift, combustion forklift, and a total of $18,270. For the roads department, we have equipment fuel and a total of $20,566.07.
Nobody else can buy it at that price.
Now they got a good deal on this one.
Yeah.
Onto the sheriff's office. This first one is a blanket purchase order for culinary purchases for the kitchen and a total of $30,000. The next one is a blanket purchase order for commissary purchases and a total of $55,000. The next one is another blanket purchase PO for commissary items, which from a different vendor, for $10,000. Next one is another blanket purchase order for building supplies and maintenance in a total of $25,000. The next one would be another blanket PO for culinary purchases for the kitchen. We did one a minute ago, but this is from a different vendor, in a total of $180,000.
Through a lot of blankets.
Well,
I get it.
that's the kitchen, that's the food.
I just wanted to see how serious you were going to take me, Ray.
The next one's another blanket PO for building maintenance and supplies from a different vendor than the one just a minute ago, and a total of $15,000. And then the very final one, this is a protective bomb suit for the bomb squad and all of its components for a total of $35,507.
Absolutely worth it.
Very good.
Chair, before you ask for a motion, I think a lot of people in the community may be interested in the first four items, I believe it was, from the Office of Tourism. I'm putting her on the spot, and she can get back at me later, but Brittany, would you come up and stand where Ray is and tell people the source of these funds and why these are spent, where they are, and the return on investment?
Now, hey, we all know that Brittany was just waiting for you to ask her.
I
to come up.
actually
Yes.
was pretty prepared for that. So as some of you may know, that these funds are collected from the visitors that come to stay in Washington County that pay into the transient room tax. So these dollars are allocated back to Washington County to be used for marketing purposes. So several of these purchase orders, we actually co-fund with the state of Utah and other tourism partners. So we go in together and do these big projects that we're advertising Washington County. This one in particular is in Italy. This was for the printing of our vacation guide that we send out to thousands of people and that we take to all of our shows and that type of thing. So yeah, there's a significant return on this money that's been spent.
And I think the public that pays taxes and sees their tax bill come don't realize that this really isn't
This
something
money is
that
not coming out
they're
of their
coming
pocket.
from them.
Absolutely not.
And that's why I wanted that clarification, because I think if someone were listening to this or was reading any sort of publication might say,
Saw those
why am
amounts
I
and-
spending
Yes.
money on tourism?
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to make sure that that was clear, that that's not the source of the funding.
That's money coming in and using all of our facilities and staying in our hotels and eating in our restaurants. And we are able to use those monies to further market Washington County. It's really a genius system. Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you, Brittany.
you bet.
Well, very good. I will entertain a motion for approval of the purchase requests.
I move that we,
Chairman, I would make maybe I'm stepping on Commissioner Alm.
No,
I
you're.
would make a motion to approve the purchase request as presented.
Very good.
second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the purchase request. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carries. Thank you very much, Ray. Appreciate you. And Brittany. Item number 2 is a presentation of the 2020 HILT payment from the Division of Wildlife Services. Kevin Bunnell, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. I wish I could tell you I had a check for you that would pay for all of the purchases you just approved, but I don't. I do have a check for $117.90 for our payment in lieu of taxes for the Division of Wildlife
It all
Resources.
helps, right?
It all
So-
helps. We don't have a lot of property in Washington County, but nevertheless, do our duty and pay what we owe. I would, maybe on a more significant note, make you aware I have a map here that I'll present with the letter. Since with our watershed restoration initiative, we had to put a tally together for all the counties of the number of acres that have been improved since the inception of that program. And in Washington County, there's been 43,684 acres that have had significant amounts of funds and cooperation between the state and the federal agencies and private landowners to improve for wildlife habitat, for livestock forage, for fire protection, and for several other things. And with a total amount of money spent on that project, well in excess of what you approved today, to improve 43,000 acres. So that's included here with the check, along with a letter from our director thanking you for your cooperation with the Division of Wildlife. And I'll just say also, I know this is a busy year coming up, and there'll be a lot of coordination between my staff and the county, and we look forward to working in a cooperative way and working as a partner with the county to see if we can get things done.
Very good.
And I'd be happy to take any questions that you might have.
Wouldn't you agree, and this may be a softball question, that both federal wildlife resource officers that serve our area, at least in Five County, I can say that your cooperative effort has been enhanced by, for example, the Forest Service, as well as the State Forestry Division, that you seem to be working pretty closely together, not only for habitat restoration and for watershed restoration, but in other bigger issues as well, and fire danger prevention, things like that.
Certainly, we all have different roles that we serve, but we work well with our federal partners. Certainly, there's some issues where we're on opposite sides of the fence on, and that's okay because we have different roles to serve. But our relationship with the federal agencies is very productive, and we get a lot of work.
Agreed.
Yeah, we had a chance to meet with Nick today from the
Forest Service.
Forest Service, and just all the great work that he's planning.
From Forestry,
public-
Fire, and State Lands.
Well, he's from Dixie,
Pine Valley.
Pine Valley.
Oh, from
And so-
the Forest Service,
From the
the
Forest
District
Service.
Ranger Nick Glidden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just there's some great work going to be done, and
Yeah.
it's just great to get out on the ground and really start to look at these landscapes. And there's so much of the talk about preservation, but when you can get out and really protect the watersheds, you're really doing good for wildlife, for the watershed, as well as for those that are using it for grazing and historical uses as
Yeah.
well. So
Absolutely. If you look at the watershed restoration initiative at the statewide scale, we're approaching 2 million acres that we've positively affected, either in fire rehab or proactive work on the ground.
very good. Well, thank you very much, Kevin,
Thank
for
you.
being here. And I think I have a letter so that we can fully accept that large contribution. I'll hand you a letter. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Kevin. Are you related to the Washington City Bunnels? Lee Bunnell?
Not that I'm aware of. My family roots all go back to fruit farmers in Utah County, but I've heard, was it a Coach Bunnell referenced several times for that?
Biology teacher as well, right?
Yes, and
A
coach
professor?
and judge, I think.
And I understand he's. I need to stop by his courtroom sometime and figure out how we're related, because there aren't a lot of Bunnells around, and I'm sure the connection isn't too far
Somewhere.
off. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks for
thank you
coming.
very much. Appreciate you. Item number 3 is our emergency services report. I believe that we have Daryl Cashin. I understood by the radio it was a busy weekend.
Right, first thing I wanted to bring up is I do not understand why tourism keeps inviting people to come. And none of my guys speak Italian. So you might want to rethink that one.
Well, the great thing about it is when they finally get here and they get lost in the rocks and the woods, they have Daryl there to help them out.
Yeah, right. So what I've done is, this is the end of year report. So I took from the last report from December 18th through the end of the year. We had 6 additional call-outs in 2019, which brought us to a total of 130 for 2019. Total man hours for last year was 4,178. That was the incidents. The training hours were 3,464 for a total of 7,642 SAR man hours. That's what my volunteers donated last year. And since the first of the year, we have done 10 more up to today. So it's been kind of busy. I'm sure some of you saw some of the rescues that we did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to briefly go over these. I'm not going to really go into a lot of detail with them unless you have a question about one or would like to know more detail. On the 20th of December, we had some lost hikers on Island in the Sky. That's been a reoccurring theme lately. 23rd, we had stranded hikers on Molly's Nipple out in Hurricane. On the 25th, at 3 in the morning, we had a stranded motorist on Kolob.
On what day?
Christmas morning.
Yeah, of course, because that's what you should be doing on Christmas morning.
Getting stuck.
It was a situation that was very unique. I don't know how you get a backhoe up there at 3 o'clock in the morning, get it stuck and run out of gas, but apparently it happened. So on the 26th, we had an agency assist with Washington City on an individual that was having some mental issues. And we had to help him get down a cliff. On the 28th, we had a UTV rollover on Sand Mountain. On the 30th, there was a ill ATV rider in Warner Valley. That one ended up having Hurricane and Washington City and Mercy Air and us. And unfortunately, that gentleman did not survive that one. Then starting 2020, on the 4th, we had stranded UTV on Kolob Mountain, injured hiker in Snow Canyon. On the 10th, she happened to have been flown out by Life Flight. She had some pretty serious injuries. On the 11th, we had a missing elderly female that we assisted St. George with. On the 13th, we had an injured hiker on Anasazi Trail. 16th was an injured climber on Chuckawalla. St. George requested us to respond to that one. Again, on the 16th, we had a missing juvenile out on Mataqua Road from one of the wilderness groups.
Oh, okay.
And it was one of those, a storm's coming in, it's really cold. We probably ought to go out there and see if we can find her. So that's kind of what we did. 17th was a stranded motorist on Mormon's Well Road. 19th, we had the injury on Island in the Sky, for those of you who did see it, where we rappelled them off 410 feet. It was fun from where I was at. Again, right as soon as we were finishing that, we had some lost ATV riders over near Confluence Park in Laverkin. And before we got that one finished, we had a missing motorcyclist out on Utah Hill. That kind of gives you a rundown of how it's been the last 30 days. Kind of busy. And people like to recreate down here even in the winter, apparently.
Well, the weather's been pretty good. So.
It's been pretty good. So do you have any questions on any of these or on any of the numbers?
No, just thank you.
Yeah.
It's always just amazing that we have people like this in our community that work in search and rescue, that are just willing to drop what they have going on in their lives and get out and help somebody else, especially, on a cold night, on a stormy night, on a holiday weekend. It just is always just amazing.
It was amazing to me to have, I had probably 14 people in Snow Canyon, and some of them went over to Laverkin, and some of them went out on West Mountain. So they worked all day long, just donating time to get. So they're good, wonderful group of people.
Yeah.
True. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, Daryl. Appreciate you.
Sure did. Thank you.
Gotcha. Glad you're doing okay.
Doing great.
Excellent. Item 4 is consideration of resolution R-2020-2557, a resolution approving the execution of an agreement between Bluemont Building Services and Washington County to provide custodial cleaning and maintenance service for Washington County buildings. Paul Sullivan?
This is for the renewal of the cleaning contract that we've already had in place. They've been doing it for 4 years and raising the cost. I think we've been getting pretty good value for money since they were significantly low bidder.
Yeah. I think they've been trying, they do a good job, good effort there.
Oh, yes.
Seem to be very responsive.
I just noticed on here, though, that this amount for the administration, it's written out 9,640 on my copy. In parentheses, it says 10,000.
That sounds like whichever attorney reviewed that was going too fast.
I just wanted to make sure. I'm sorry.
I think it's the first number.
I believe it is, but I'm not sure.
So commissioners, if you would just, if you're going to pass it, you could just pass it subject to us.
Very good. Well, is there any questions? Any questions, Commissioner Cox, on the maintenance contract?
No, I'd like to commend Paul for the work that he's done in reviewing the bids that were done prior to this. Bluemont really had a great price, and I think we've worked with them over time to get the service that we need and comfortable with. So, with that said, I would make a motion to approve Resolution R20202557, a resolution approving the execution of an agreement between Bluemont Building Services and Washington County to provide custodial cleaning and maintenance services for Washington County buildings.
We have a motion. Have a second?
I'll second. In addition, if you'll approve, Dean, and that is subject to review on the contract amount by legal.
Do you accept that motion, Commissioner Cox? Subject to review by
Yes,
legal?
I do.
With that, all those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you very much. Item 5 is resolution R-2020-2558, a resolution approving the execution of an interlocal agreement governing the use of the Washington County Justice Court by Virgin Town.
I've reviewed this, and it's similar to the same agreements we have with other entities that we provide basically various services, and then they share, fine amounts with us to provide payment for those services, and they provide their own prosecution. So it really isn't a burden upon us, and we do get reimbursed. And Eric, would you say that that's a fair reimbursement amount in there of 50%?
Well, and it's the way that we interpret the code. Like, even without an agreement, the town could come to hey, within our jurisdiction, so,
right.
So they wanted something that kind of formalized, but basically the deal they're getting is the deal they'd get with or without an agreement.
And the burden is upon them to, of course, cooperate with schedules, agendas, and all sorts of timeframes. So
That's correct.
anyway,
Yeah, with the public might not be aware, but the Washington County Justice Court is the Justice Court for St. George City, as well as the unincorporated areas of the county. We also do it for Leeds as well, and now with Virgin and
Apple Valley.
and Apple Valley, Springdale.
Thanks, Springdale.
So it's just it helps those communities and also provides justice, I guess. So, very good.
well, it saves them costs.
Yep.
So I move that we approve the resolution number R-2020-2558 of the execution of an interlocal agreement governing the use of the Washington County Justice Court by Virgin Town.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Item 6, consideration of resolution R-2020-2559, a resolution reappointing board members to the Council of Aging Advisory Board. Jacob Browning, our New Director of Council of Aging.
Hi, Commissioners. Thank you. Today, I'm just looking to reappoint 3 individuals and then appoint a new. These individuals serve on my board for me, and they give us a fresh perspective, outreaching to separate communities within the county, giving us just feedback from those communities and helping us to expand our outreach with our Council on Aging.
Very good. It's always great to have citizens volunteer and give time up to these boards and give feedback.
Absolutely, they do a great job. They give us really good, valuable feedback that gets in turn back ideas that can be used in the centers that we might not have thought about.
Oh, very good. Well, with that, I will accept a motion.
Who are the 3
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we approve resolution R 2020-2559, a resolution appointing Ronald Lane, R. Farnsworth, and Vicki Peters to the Council on Aging Advisory Board with terms to expire December 31st, 2022.
Very good.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. And Jacob, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Item 7, consideration of resolution R-2020-2560, a resolution selecting architecture and constructing firms for the new Washington County Administration Building. Nicole, this is an exciting time for Washington County.
It's a very exciting time, so thank you for the opportunity to present this today. I made just a couple notes because for some it will be kind of the first time that they're hearing of this. So as most of you should know, we've been in need of a new administration building for quite some time. We currently occupy many buildings, but our main buildings are this administration building and then across the street are the parking lot and the boulevard building. That spreads the county out quite a bit with the departments that tend to be utilized frequently. And so having a new administration building, being able to house all the departments under one roof will really allow us to support and provide services to the citizens the way we want and really need to, especially when, as all of you have experienced, we will get people that come in this building, and some it takes great effort to come into this building, and only to let them know you have to go across the street and up some stairs. And so anyway.
That's especially bad in August, and an elderly couple that's looking for the assessor's office or the recorder's office, and you have to direct them across the lava parking lot out there. Yes.
Yep. So last year, towards the end of the year, we determined that it was really the right time to start looking into the construction of a new administration building. So with that in mind, we then researched and determined that the best method that we felt would be the direction that we needed to go in was a design-build method. For those that aren't familiar with this method, it typically can save up to about 25% of overall costs on construction. And it's a method where you secure a team right from the beginning, from an architectural firm and a contractor. The contractor is the lead on it. And that way, during the design phase and then obviously the construction phase, we have a full team in place that really can monitor costs and help us along the way to support the budget that we have set. So with that in mind, on November 12th, the county advertised for a request for qualifications. And from that, many qualified teams put in a statement of qualifications. And then over the next 2 months, it's been quite the process, but the county did form a recommending committee from the county that ended up scoring the statement of qualifications, and that narrowed the field to 2 teams. And those teams were invited to continue with the process, and we asked them to then put together conceptual drawings. And then after they submitted that, last week, we then did final interviews, and after that was conducted, the committee deliberated for quite an extensive period of time, and the committee then came up with a recommendation to be presented to the commissioners today. So It's my privilege today to recommend to you for approval today Watts Construction and Simpson Coulter Studio as the design build team for the new administration building. And TJ Ford from Watts is represented today in the audience if there were to be any follow-up questions. But just as kind of a time frame where we go from here, we anticipate being in the design phase for the next 11 months. We want to make sure that we are slow and deliberate and that we really know what we need, not just for now, but for 20, 30 plus years, 50 potentially, because this building is 50 years old, into the future. So we will be taking our time on that. And the great thing about Simpson Coulter is that they have a really great programming technique that I think will be really beneficial to the county. So we end up 11 months into the design phase, and then the anticipation is that we will break ground December of 2020, and then the construction portion will last for a year to 1.5 years, depending on, we don't want to rush anything, so we're giving it up to 18 months. So May of 2022, we should have a new administration building that will be still on Tabernacle, just adjacent from us where the current HCP building is located.
Oh, fantastic. And I have to commend Nicole and her hard work in setting up this process. And we've had some tremendous talented teams apply. And, you know, we've been talking about this administration building for quite a while. In fact, even commissioners prior to us were talking about it. When Commissioner Cox was administrator, they were talking about it as well. And now that we've kind of approached that time, the pressure feels on, right? Because you need to build a building that will meet the needs not only currently of the citizens, but also into the future. We're going to build it downtown. You want to build a building that is appropriate and has kind of that timeless historical look. You don't want to be the county commissioners that built that ugly building, right? And so there is a lot of pressure. I do have a lot of confidence in this team that is before us for consideration today, and I feel like it's going to be a fun and exciting time in Washington County.
And I think we should note a couple of things because this is the citizens' money, and therefore the focus was given to all of the teams that they put their priority into how to best serve the public from the public spaces, and that should incorporate, of course, all the modern architectural advantage of technology and space and service. One of the things that we're noticing is that because we are spread out, people aren't sure really what building to go to. And with the remodel of the Boulevard building, that has helped, but we still feel you can go out into this hallway almost any day and redirect or see people that are, where do I go, and not provide them services. Whereas Nicole's leadership has said to the design team, you know, we're going to play down the expense on the employee side, not that they're going to be sitting on milk crates with a, you know, pad of paper in front of them, but we still want the emphasis to be put on to where the public is going to be, and with some easy drop off for those that literally, this building was not built to meet ADA standards when they designed it years ago. And even though it was probably at the head of its class in the day, many things change over a long period of time, including, you know, public access to things and legal requirements there. The other thing is, because I started with the public's money, we can really tell the department heads and elected officials that the frugality that they have run their departments and their offices has paid off. Because even though they have not ever felt like they've wasted money, they've also been better savers. And although we don't have the financial details fully worked out, that comes in the 11-month process as well. But we do have a budget. We submitted that to every one of the applicants and said, this is where we want to be. And they designed around that number. And we appreciate the fact that the successful bidder took that seriously, and many did, although this one was more closed end than the others. And so we felt comfortable as that part of the decision. But really, our hats go off to those who have saved. And Clerk Auditor Kim Hafen has been good about seeing what those fund balances have been over the last 15, 20 years, and that they've been reasonable enough that they've saved enough that they still function in their departments, but at the same time realize they're investing for the future too. And the future is now, and those funds that have been saved for the specific purpose are apparently becoming available. And, you know, Kim, you can speak to that if you want, but I've just been impressed with the fact, being a new commissioner, that they've looked to this point and said, we'll save for the future, and not so many that have the mindset, including in governments, well, we'll just borrow when that time comes. I don't think that's the right approach that government should ever take. And it does make sense in some things. You know, we borrow all the time for various things and pay off bonds and are frugal in that regard. But in this particular case, I think the public, when it's all known, will be impressed by the amount of money the county has been saving and for this purpose, and still keeping everything else afloat.
Yes, you know, we have talked, and we're just starting this architectural part, but we expect that the public spaces will be the most beautiful. So when people come, I hope they recognize that we're not going to be going all fancy, you know, back in the back. It'll be what we need. Very utilitarian.
Well, and can I just add to is, like, this is just the beginning of the phase. So what we went through over the last 2 months was just, can the design team listen to us? And as we know that,
I think me and Gil just designed the building right here. We haven't even made the motion yet. TJ's back there going, hey, we haven't even started.
keeping public funds in mind, and we know that that will potentially change as we start to really dig in of what the county's needs are. But this team clearly demonstrated that they're right along with us, and that they will work towards helping us to get the building that we need for the least cost possible, I guess, if you could say. I mean, they'll give us a lot of different ideas, and so that makes the county feel very comfortable that we aren't sure what we need right now, because we don't know what 30 years looks like, but we do know that with the right team that we're going to do the best possible thing for the citizens. So
very good. Commissioner Cox, do you have anything to add to this, or?
I certainly do. I remember when that building was built in 1966, and the chairman of the county commission back then was Murray Webb. And I would like to applaud that commission, and especially Commission Chair Murray Webb, for their foresight and vision that they had to build a building that would last us 54 years. And we'll be in at 55 or 56 before the other one gets done. It took outstanding vision, and it took courage for them to do that in 1966. And I'd like to applaud them for that. It's been a wonderful investment for the county. And I'd like to also thank Nicole for the hard work and effort that she's put in on this, and everybody else who has worked to get us to the point where we are right now.
Very good. Kim Hafen, our clerk auditor, please.
So we don't know exactly what it will cost when we get done, but we do know that we have some money set aside to help with that. And that money has come over the last 10 years or so since the recession, with conservative commissioners and conservative department heads that have contributed to the fund balance that we have to do that. And I think we're in good shape in that regard. We have people that don't spend all their budget if they don't need to, and that's not always the case with governmental budgets. And one thing I just wanted to clarify, we just completed the remodel of the Boulevard building, and some people might say, well, why would you remodel that building if now you're going to build a brand new one 2 years from now? But we have at least the Justice Court that will stay in that building going forward. And it definitely need to be remodeled, but we're anxious to kind of keep the Justice Court separate from the rest of the county department. So that building will continue to be utilized, and that money that was used to refurbish that obviously wasn't wasted. It was something that was needed going forward.
You know, that's a great point that the public needs to know that, you know, we just barely started this meeting with approving an agreement for a justice court with the town of Virgin. Justice courts require bailiffs, they require extra security. And we just felt like, in fact, we'd started this conversation 4 years ago thinking the justice court would come with us. But it's better as we've explored other counties and looked at what they're doing, that the justice court have its own separate space, like Kim just mentioned, as far as that's the way it's supposed to be.
So thank you for that clarification, Kim, because the overall plan was the phase one was to do the exterior remodel. And the next phase was to get us into a new administration building. Then we'll come back and we will design the interior of the boulevard and remodel that for the needs of the justice court. So that was a really good point.
You know, and it's not that the justice court would fill the entire building, but it gives us some opportunity to have cooperative lease space as well. And in the design of the interior of that, when years to come, we never know when somebody may come and say, hey, we're a government entity and we need some space as well. Could it be remodeled to our benefit? And to our needs, and we can make those decisions then if we want to branch out and do that, but which of course would be income to us. The other thought though is that the Boulevard building started when the roof leaked, and it was some people that go to justice court and don't get the ruling they want say that it is all wet anyway, but it wasn't that kind of building that we could just let go. And because it, as somebody said, has good bones, and therefore you don't want to run the risk of it being damaged or anything because of a leaky roof. So anyway, it's all coming together.
Very good. I would entertain a
Another
motion.
comment.
Yes.
If I can make this comment quick. Back when that was built, the population of the county was about 12,000 people in 1966. And here we are in 2020 with over 170,000 people, and that's almost a 15-fold increase. I think we've done just an outstanding job in working this building just as long as we could do it.
Excellent point.
That's a great point.
Well, I'm happy to make the motion on item number 7, that we approve the resolution number R 2020-2560, a resolution selecting architectural and contracting firms for the new Washington County Admin Building, and those firms are Watts Construction Incorporated and Simpson Coulter Studio.
And I'll second the motion.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you very much. Exciting times. Item 8, consideration of resolution R-2020-2561, a resolution approving Dixie State University and Greater Zion marketing agreement. Kevin,
Commissioners,
talk about exciting things. There's all kinds of exciting
all
things.
kinds of good stuff tonight. As you've heard, visitors have been good to this county over the years. They keep our search and rescue people entertained, and they pour a lot of revenue into our coffers here. The tune of about $600 to $800 million a year in economic impact, and $9 million in additional tax revenue that we then can use to continue to generate that economic cycle and move forward. And that's part of our job, is to do that, to help promote and develop this area in a way that will benefit the visitors and the residents, right? Maximize those revenues to do that. So over the last couple of months, we have been in discussions with Dixie State University over a unique and kind of creative marketing strategy that will capitalize on the assets that Dixie State University has, especially as they're moving into Division I status, and the assets that we have as a tourism office. And to utilize those tourism dollars to market and promote this area and the destination through a marketing agreement with the university. That agreement is that we've come together with and has been recommended by our Tourism Advisory Board is a 20-year agreement that's a $10 million investment, $500,000 annually for 20 years. And for that, we will get about $2 million in annual marketing assets and resources. So for $500,000 a year, we're going to get about $2 million in marketing exposure. Those are the numbers as they're projected right now as in the current state. But as that agreement lengthens and goes into 5, 10, 20 years, the value of those marketing assets will probably grow as well. So that's what this resolution is about, is presenting a recommendation from the TAB board to enter into that marketing agreement with Dixie State University.
And again, explain, as Brittany did earlier, the funding source is?
The visitors, yeah. So these funds are coming from transient room taxes, which are the taxes that visitors pay when they stay in a hotel. So a percentage of that comes back into a marketing fund to help continue to market and promote the area. And so by utilizing, again, the assets of Dixie State, we get to leverage their assets and their capabilities, but invest the money locally. So it's really a win-win-win situation for us.
Well, and I've got to tell you that since I graduated from then Dixie College to today, I've never become more proud of not only how it's growing, but the quality of students. The academic level is just gone sky high, and of course the faculty and administration. And part of the reason, it's been about 15 years ago that Jill and I were successful at getting all of her nieces to go to Dixie. And at first they were thinking, what? They had opportunities to go elsewhere. And of course, free room and board helped. But to this day, they will all testify that was a brilliant move for them to come and graduate from Dixie. And with this in sort of marriage of all the things we use the university for to enhance the area, this will take it to the next level with the visual as well as the unseen advantage of teaming up.
Yeah, I think it's a great partnership. A couple of things that will happen as part of that will be a little more visible. The stadium will be renamed Greater Zion Stadium, which is our marketing brand, the brand that we've launched about 6-8 months ago. And so we'll continue to market and promote that brand, and the exposure that will get will go to everybody that drives by I-15. We'll see that. But with DSU moving into Division I status, joining the WAC, the institutions in the WAC will all be a part of that. They'll all be coming to participate in that, and those institutions are directly correlating with the target markets that we're most focused on in the Western United States. And so it makes a really neat kind of partnership again, where we can utilize their inside track to those audiences, both the students, the parents, and the communities that are out there in our target markets, and we can go directly to them through the avenues that the university has.
Well, and because of the Olympics, everyone knows Rice Eccles.
Right.
And because of past success, not repeated currently, everyone knows Lavelle Edwards Stadium. Okay. I can hear right now, whether it's ESPN or whatever group that we're with that promote the games, I can just hear them saying, well, we're here at lovely Greater Zion Stadium on the campus of, and then people will just immediately go, Greater Zion? Is that a church in the South? No, that's a national park and a lot of beautiful sights all around it.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Expose them to then other, multimedia assets through television commercials and, all that kind of, marketing.
This is
benefit
exciting
as well.
for the university, as it'll allow them to also do some of the upgrades that they need for the stadium as they go to Division I and other things.
Yeah, exactly. So it's an investment into our community to build that, and then that allows us to then utilize that facility for additional marketing opportunities and events. We can then capitalize on other opportunities that are out there to bring more things into the facility because it's upgraded into a way that we can utilize.
Well, the university has always been a great partner with all of our tourism events. When you think about Huntsman Senior Games and the opening ceremonies and other events that are going on and other events that will come in the future, I think that this will be it's a partnership that really represents how we do business here in Washington County, which is we work together, we collaborate. I make the argument that back in the olden days, when they came here, they had to collaborate or they had to start or they starved to death. You know, it was kind of one of the, you know, now we do it more because it's the way we do things. And I think this is going to be a great partnership with the university, and they've really taken it to the next level. Compliments to the president and his team. It seems like one great, exciting thing after another. And I'm really excited about their whole vision with the Polytechnic University, bringing technology. We happen to have somebody present a study on entrepreneurial ecosystems. And they said, look, if I could buy stock, and this is an individual who's studying to get his doctorate in business from Harvard University. He says, if I could buy stock in Southwest Utah, and he's basically talking about Washington County, I would do that today. I mean, he's like, great things are happening, and we were sitting down at Innovation Plaza at that time. So,
Commissioners,
just
I like the idea of this combining, you know, the tourism assets to also influence economic development.
Yep.
You know, Dixie State University provides workforce, educated people, places for our kids to live and thrive, and so many good things that happen through the university. And tourism brings eyeballs to the area and introduces them to the great things that are here. I think it's just a great partnership.
And wholesome companies that locate into our industrial park and provide those kind of jobs that cause families to be able to keep their children here or their extended family. One of the first questions they ask are, what is my employee pool? You know, because it's hard for a company to come here and think that they've got to move everybody from California or New Jersey or wherever they're looking, because they upset their whole supply chain. But if they know that they're going to lose some people that say, well, I'm not moving to Southwest Utah, that they can go to the university and say, we need 10 of these and 5 of these and 4 of these in these expertise areas. And they have to be here being trained and educated, and that's what promotes an area. You know, we're going to ask President to come say something, or somebody he selects that he would like. But we were sold on this from the get-go and saw the value for Greater Zion and the tourism aspect as marketing. But I do want the public to know that both teams, legal teams from both sides, worked out an agreement that everyone would be happy with. Sometimes people get excited about something and they want to sign on the dotted line right away. And like it's a teenager buying their first car, you know, and they ask no questions. They just like the color and the look. In our particular case, we dove deep enough to make sure that both sides agreed on the terms and how it would be not only presented to the public, but also as we move forward, because who knows who the commissioners are going to be, and the longevity of a good document is, you know, key to its survivability. So, with that, and Kevin, you finish whenever, but it'd be nice for somebody from the university to speak to this.
Please, President, come in.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you. It's an exciting time for the university, and I think Commissioner Iverson really summed it up that, you know, the 5 years I've been here, what's been really nice about building this institution is the partnership that we have within the county and the surrounding areas. It's been amazing to me that when I first came here, everybody talked about the Dixie spirit and having red sand in your shoes, and it's a collaborative effort on all fronts. I know when I speak to the superintendent of schools, Larry Bergeson, and others, it's so nice to be able to have partners to figure out when we have problems that we can partner together and find solutions. And Kevin Lewis and his team have been very helpful. We are, you know, trying to put this university together. We're growing at a tremendous pace. As you know, this year we grew 12.5%. I just got numbers this morning that spring to spring we've grown 16%. Wow. And so being able to accommodate all these great and wonderful students that are around here, partnerships like these really help. And being able to have a win-win and be able to promote the Greater Zion. When I was there at the launch, my wheels started turning because it's such a great brand, and looking at, you know, they want to inspire greater, experience greater, and live greater, and combine that with our active learning, active life that we have at our institution. It just makes sense to partner in so many different ways. We also look at our academic programs and what this will do, bringing different events to campus. We have sport management, for example, as we expand the Ironman and other things. What a great active learning experience for our students to be able to partner. And so we can't thank the commission enough, and also for Greater Zion Convention Tourism Office. They've been partnering with us for quite some time to brainstorm on how we can make this a win-win situation. So this is a great day to be in Washington counties. Thank you.
Tell us some of the first steps.
So the first steps, we will start planning. We've been planning, and I know Mr. Lewis has been part of this, is looking at our third phase expansion. I always am hesitant to say the third phase because this is the third phase of my first phase of the stadium. So the stadium will continue to grow, but this is the third phase of looking on the West Grandstand. We know with Division I athletics, we're going to need to expand our press box. We also want to accommodate economic growth, and we know that some businesses and companies that will want to come will want to have loge and club seating and better press, and we'll also have entertainment areas on that west side. So our next steps will be looking to start some bonding approvals and get the design phase. We have the programming phase, and we're going to move forward as quickly as possible, and it'll be nice when institutions from up the road come to our new stadium that will be able to put on a good show and beat them. So.
Looking forward to that.
And there'll be a visitor center, even though we're outstaffed and whatnot, but people coming will be able to get information directly related to tourism.
Yes, so in the new plan, we'll have a space for a tourism office, and we'll man it together, and we'll also have different kiosks on campus. One piece of feedback that we get from our parents often is we have a lot of parents come to our campus or coming for new student orientation or parents weekend, and they want to know what to do. And we thought this would be a great marriage because we can tell them, here are the things that you can do. We can hand them the Greater Zion brochure, and we can share with them. Also, we can partner if they want to go mountain biking or kayaking. We have our outdoor recreation adventure center where they could rent. We can also refer them to other places where they can find access to the different rentals. And so for us, it's going to solve another problem of making sure that when the parents come and visit their children, that they know all the exciting things that they can do. So when we're talking to their students and getting them registered, they can go out and have a little bit of fun.
Well, they tore the west side of the temple off. Maybe they'll be tearing off the west side of here.
They will, very soon.
Okay.
Very good. Commissioner Cox, do you have something to add at all?
Yeah, I would love to comment that I had the great honor and privilege of attending the Tourism Tax Advisory Board when the college brought this proposal to them, and it was interesting to listen to them discuss it, and I can say that without exception, they thought it was an exceptional opportunity, and I agree. The value that we'll be getting for our investment right now is excellent. We're going to receive just wonderful value for it, but I see that increasing every single year for the next 20 years. So, President Williams, thank you for giving us this opportunity, and it's going to be a win-win for the university and for the county as we market the Greater Zion brand.
Is that a motion?
And with that, oh, go ahead.
I was asking if that was a motion.
Yeah, I was just ready to make the motion. So I would move to approve Resolution R2020-2561, a resolution approving Dixie State University and Greater Zion marketing agreement.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Very good. We have done really well as far as just kind of growing. I was thinking this is going to be a 25-minute meeting, but, there's some important stuff happening. Item 9 is our commission report, and we have Sharon. I didn't get your last name, but sure. Oh, very good. Oh, very good. Thank you.
And so we'd like to thank you for your support and for Greater Zion's support also with Kevin and Brittany and Sarah. This is some of the grant money, so for the public to know, this is where some of the advertising money goes. The Hurricane Valley Chamber we did the Hurricane Valley Visitors Guide, and I'd like to show some things to you that we did was a little bit different. We engaged the community with a photo contest. So the photo on the front was actually done by a community member. And a lot of the photos inside, you'll see the courtesy of, or some of the photos are actually from the people within our community. So we engaged them in the process. Then if you look on page 8 and 9, in previous editions, I'm not sure why, because I'm new to the community by a year and a half, almost 2 years now. We didn't have leads in there, so we added leads in there too, because Hurricane Valley is known as the gateway to the parks. And so it leads us just right off there, off to the side there by Quail Lake. And then if you look on page, it would be page 19, you see this beautiful, right here, it looks like this. All right, it's actually was courtesy of the city, and it's actually a clock or the distance to other things, like for instance, Bryce National Park, expanding out. And if you notice at the top of most every page on the right-hand side, it says www.greaterzion.com, because Kevin, Brittany, and Sarah were very helpful in giving us some advice on how to position it, put it together, but also not just expose Hurricane Valley, but all of Washington County. And so we did that. The other thing we did was put in a measurement of some stats we're hoping to get back from visitors. So on page 46, we have a survey that they can actually submit they can take a picture of it, they can send it to us, they can email it to us. We also have a QR code in there. We have posted this actually on a digital platform also, to where we can send out a digital copy of this to anyone. So, and then Paul has done a wonderful job with the distribution list, and he'll tell you more about that, and the volunteer hours too that we've accumulated.
I don't remember the numbers of volunteer hours, but it's in the 700 to 800 hour range of mostly Sharon and I have done this. We appreciate the help of the Greater Zion and the county commissioners in approving some funds. It's really eased the burden for Sharon and I. We've kind of co-edited this and put it together. As you take the money worries away, we focused on content and again the pictures and putting it all together, and it's been really a fun project. I just wanted to note that cover photo also is something that is really something that visitors really like. If you can go to a city where you can see the stars, or go to an area where you can see the stars, it's a spectacular place to go. And because there's a lot of cities that have the light pollution that it obscures them, that you can't see it. And it's just the Vision 2020, it all came together very nicely for us. Thank you for your...
Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
Beautiful guide, and you can never show the Hurricane Valley too much love, so...
And then if you notice also too on the back, and this is for the search and rescue.
Yeah.
We also have the helpful guide at the back on page 50 that has all the numbers on it that everyone needs to know.
And because of the QR code, they can get it on their phone if they need it.
Very good. Well, super. This is great.
Thank you.
So this is in conjunction with the Chamber of Commerce and...
Yes. Yeah, the Chamber of Commerce... right now, I think that Lana sends out visitor packets.
Yep.
I checked with her for this past year. I think she sent out about 40 packets of people that want to move into the Hurricane Valley. So
good.
she sends that out. She sends this out. And now we can also, too, potentially save on some of our costs because we can send them a digital link that opens up into a PDF file. So, so there's just various aspects of it.
How often do you publish this? Once a year?
Once a year.
Once a year.
So next year, let's do Legacy Park and the Shooting Sports Park as well.
Yeah,
A little bit, 'cause-
actually, it's in there.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's in
I
there.
didn't
There
see
is
it.
Legacy
Oh, that's
Park
great.
in there. It should be on page 29.
Oh, super.
Page 29, it is there.
How do you like that sign?
Beautiful.
It is. It's
absolutely
fantastic,
gorgeous.
isn't
Yes.
it? I told you, Nicole.
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
great.
job with that.
Yeah, it's
so
super.
thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. So, with that, Commissioner's report.
I think the meeting has kind of been indicative of what we've been working on.
Yeah.
Including a wonderful tour down to the Confluence Park by Laverkin and Hurricane. And that was well worth it, and meeting people there that have their heart into that becoming a real gem in the county, including yourself, Commissioner Iverson. But there's a grant writer who I met, and she's really on fire about making that a beautiful area, and I guess we're getting some requests for information and bids on some of the improvements down there. So that was well worth putting under our scrutiny. But it just seems like there's so many things going on that how they're getting accomplished one at a time just keeps us busy.
Yep. Well, I'm really excited about this Ag, Livestock and Heritage Show that'll be on April 28th, I believe. It's in conjunction with Dixie Junior Livestock. Of course, Susie Lafayette, that used to work at the St. George Area Chamber of Commerce, is now our events coordinator at Legacy Park. We're going to have our first official committee kickoff meeting tonight at 6. We're really excited about that. We have the logo. It's just going to be a great event there in the springtime. It's just going to add on to what's already been a tremendously successful junior livestock show, and just highlighting our heritage and celebrating it in the springtime. And we already mentioned this great report that came out on entrepreneurial ecosystems and just the great things that are going on at Innovation Plaza. I'm just really excited. You talk about workforce development for the future. I'm thinking about all of the great patents and companies that are being developed. I think Wayne Provost said that we're up to like 38. I believe that we're going to have the next Steve Jobs or Bill Gates or Henry Ford's, except for the automobile's already been invented. So now it's going to be the flying automobile that we're going to invent down there. There's going to be some great companies that come out of that. I'm just excited. And the reason I'm excited isn't for necessarily all the people that might want to move here, even though we welcome them. It's for the 35 to 40,000 young people that we have in our school district and our schools, the 12,000 plus kids that are at the university, and just really their opportunity to stay here and live out their dreams in Washington County and add to it. That's really what this is all about, and I'm excited. So good times. 2020 is going to be a good year, I think.
And a lot of people might say, some detractors saying, hey, well, let's shut the door to Washington County. I'm here now and I'm done. You know, I don't want anybody else to come here except for relatives that leave spare change in the couch. But we're sensitive to the environment as well. We're not going to kill the goose that laid the golden egg. And that's part of why we're developing such infrastructure, so that we don't go willy-nilly out there and just grow for growth's sake, because that's not the answer. The answer is doing it in a very smart way. And I know that sounds so cliche, and you hear it from every politician ever running for anything. I'll be the smartest person ever. I'll plan the best ever. You know, that's not the point. The point is that with the collaboration with the university and with Greater Zion, and between national parks and state parks and cities and towns, you know, that's cooperatively how you grow smart. And I believe we're doing that. I'm just in favor of having as much open space as possible, and so other areas may become a little more dense to serve those that want to live here, and it may make financial sense as we go forward. But there's no doubt that we have room for expansion. Let's just do it the right way.
Well, Commissioner Cox, we're really excited about your recovery. I happened to run into Commissioner Cox. He would be here if the doctor hadn't ordered him otherwise. His immune system's a little bit, he needs to take care of himself. But it's great to have you back in Washington County.
It's great to be back. Quoting Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, there's no place like home. And after spending 6 weeks in Salt Lake City and seeing it snow about every other day, there truly is no place like living in St. George and Washington County. What a wonderful place we have. And I concur with Commissioner Almquist that we do want to preserve the quality of life that we've each enjoyed. I've grown up in Washington County. I know that Commissioner Iverson did, and Commissioner Almquist has been here most of his life as well. It's a wonderful place to live, work, and raise a family, and so I would like to thank everyone that has contributed to making our county that way. And with that, I hope to join you as quickly as possible.
Very good.
Great.
Well, with that, we'll stand in adjournment.